Today's social media segment is brought to you by Alford and Associates for all of your insurance needs. CIS, Cardiovascular Institute of the South, the highest quality cardiovascular care available. Barker Honda, the Barker family tradition of quality. All right, welcome to a very special program, and I know a lot of you are going to show you Hurricane Beryl in this program only to let you know what's being done around Louisiana. Now, I've interviewed my guest today as a legislator, as a parish president of Terrebonne Parish, but today he's the chairman of the CPRA, the Coastal Protection Restoration Authority. Gordy Dove is with us today. Good to see you, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Good to see you, Martin.
You know, we have to bring this on. I just had the levee district on. I've had the parish president on before to talk about things happening now in the parish. But as the CPRA chairperson, you've been tasked. And to be honest, I can't say that there was any better person to handle this through my experience in watching you take on projects. Now we're looking at the whole coastline of Louisiana. The governor has appointed you chairperson. And I know you're working with Tony and others on that board. But when you look at a Hurricane Beryl or other storms that are affecting us, talk in generalities now about Louisiana and what y'all doing to shore up the coastline.
Yeah, well, Martin, as chairman of Coastal Protection Restoration Authority, I'm tasked with 21 parishes in the coastal zone, which is from Mississippi to Texas. And of course, I'm familiar with the entire coast, but I'm more familiar with Terrebonne Parish, of course. And as a state representative, I was chairman of Natural Resources. I originally sat on the CPRA in its inception, and when we created it back under the Blanco administration, and so I'm very familiar with it. But where I want to take CPRA is to expedite projects like we did in Terrebonne Parish. The key is these projects take 6, 7, 8, 10 years to get them off the ground, and that's got, we can do better than that. And CPRA is a great tool. It's been a great tool. It's done a lot of work, and we plan to improve it. Of course, one thing we're improving it on is, I believe, is to fortify the barrier islands and coastline from Texas to Mississippi a lot better position than where we are now.
And you're thinking a little more statewide, all these coastal areas, like you said, you used to take care of Terrebonne, but you got Grand Isle, you got Calcasieu, and you got all these areas now. So what are some of the projects, if you could bring us through?
Well, talking with the governor, of course, his priority is, Governor Jeff Landry's priority is fortifying the coast, which is mine also. And of course, one way to fortify the coast, besides rebuilding islands, is for sustainability, which is segmented breakwater rocks. And I'll show you some pictures as we progress on. And we've got a long way to go. Grand Isle has rocks on about a little less than half the island, and we're tasked working with the Corps on getting on the rest of the rocks, and we're going to have an announcement to make in the near future where we at on all that with Governor Jeff Landry. And like I said, to me, you fortify the coast if you're going to save and protect what's within it. I mean, we don't want the Gulf of Mexico lapping at the Boganza to the Gulf, or the South Lafourche levee district, or we're looking at a levee system over in Iberia, which has never been built, and we're looking at getting that kicked off.
And Grand Isle's really our barrier island. They're a community, and we always want to protect them. People love to go there, but let's be realistic. They are a barrier island to a lot of other people.
And segmented breakwater rocks work.
Yeah.
I mean, they've worked on Grand Isle, they've worked on Raccoon Island, which I'll show you in a few minutes, and you've seen it many times. And, it sustains it and it keeps it built, and, along that, we're looking at marsh restoration, we're looking at hurricane, we're looking at funding the Zalman's floodgate, which has been under design and engineering for quite some time, and they actually had to run new models because after Ida they realized reverse heads, like Mitch was talking about earlier in one of the other programs, is about how they're running models now for reverse heads
From Ida and Zeta.
and Zeta. That's correct. And so we've learned a lot on that. And a hurricane like that passed us like Beryl. Thank God we dodged the bullet. But I mean, a hurricane like that wouldn't bother Terrebonne Parish.
Right.
I mean, it would bother you because you'd have down lines and you'd have problems. But I mean, as far as flooding, it's a very easy storm surge for Terrebonne to take. And
Well, we went from 11,000 plus to 2 or 3 in Ida, and that's a testament to
for
what y'all did.
right for Barry, for Barry, we really came from Katrina. From really Rita was 11,000, and Barry was just a few homes.
Right, correct. So
I mean, so it's definitely getting better, and you got a good levee board here. And governments, Terrebonne Parish government, we built up 30 pump stations and 2 lock systems. Of course, the big lock system in the H&C. You won't have to shut these gates. You could shut these floodgates down, but with the H&C operating as a lock system, so you could look at it. So the large can leave and go with if somebody has to get out. Dulac can, Petit Caillou can, Chauvin can, and of course Cocodrie up to the floodgate could come back out through Lake Boudreaux and go out to Houma, and that's 3 years away, that $300 million lock system.
All right, let's do this. We'll take a short break. When we come back, the chairman's going to show us some slides and sort of educate us on what they're doing now. He's not only thinking locally, he's thinking statewide. He's been tasked to do that by the governor, Jeff Landry. Can't wait to hear what the projects are. We'll be right back.
Selecting an insurance provider for your business is a big decision.
With over 26 years of experience, our offered team is your solution for quality and proven coverage.
The customer service you remember from years ago is what we pride our team on.
We know how important your company is to the community.
From small businesses to large businesses, Alford & Associates can manage your insurance. It's our job.
Alford & Associates, benefiting your employees and protecting your business.
All right, we're back. Not to confuse anybody, we're with the CPRA chair, and that's Gordy Dove. And we're not talking about just localized events. We're talking about statewide events because he is the chair for Governor Jeff Landry when it comes to protecting the coastline. Of course, a lot of that coastline, too, is Terrebonne Parish and Lafourche Parish, and he's very familiar with those areas as well as Grand Albert. Educate us a little bit. What are y'all working on?
Well, and more, just to let you know, as chairman of the CPRA, I am on the governor's cabinet, so I do have his ear,
Right.
And of course he's 100% into coastal restoration and hurricane protection. But being at the cabinet meeting, you see the governor more often, and I get to visit with him and let him know what we're doing out there and what we plan to do.
No, he wants you to move on it. We know that, so that's good.
He doesn't let grass grow on his feet. There's no doubt about that. But with the slides,
There we go.
yeah, that's just some old pictures. I want to thank Matt Hagan for getting me these pictures. You can see Wine Island, how it was in 1872, I think these are. And of course it says Caillou Island, but it's really Timley Island. And with Little Pass. Of course, these are the islands we're going to rebuild. Now, if you notice, Timley Island is divided up right there into lots. At that time, I'm told they were selling lots back then or trying to sell
That's
them.
incredible.
On the islands. I mean, the islands were so massive back then. Because we'll never get them back like they were, but our goal is to get them back and choke these passes down. In other words, the passes need to get smaller if we're ever going to stop that water from coming in. And, you know, as you can see, Cat Island Pass, you know, that's the ship channel, you know, and so it's important that we get these passes back, as well as passes throughout Louisiana. You know, we're not only working on this one, we're working on other ones too, as a CPRA agency. And you know, and as you see that it's Last Island, which is part of our Daenerys chain. And now, you know, under my administration, we had pumped about 4 million cubic yards of sand on this island, along with Timberley Island. We had pumped about 4 million cubic yards of sand, which is really a Band-Aid in a way, just to hold them up until we could start putting rebuilding them with segmented breakwater rocks. Not only here, but like at Rockefeller in western Louisiana. We plan on adding 4 miles of rocks to the rocks already that were built there in Rockefeller, as well as Grand Isle, as well as we're working on the Chandelier Islands over in St. Bernard Parish. You know, we're working with a bunch of federal agencies on that. All the rest of the islands we're handling ourselves.
You're trying to create a footprint where these islands help hold the sand in.
That's correct.
Okay.
And and you can't have 2 and 3 mile wide passes, and then when there's a south wind, Cocodrie is underwater, or close to getting underwater. The new Coco Marina, which a lot of money has been spent, and luckily they lifted it so it holds pretty well under normal circumstances. But a low coming in and all will push water in because there's nothing to hold it back. So what our plan is, the whole entire coast, is to rebuild barrier islands, coastlines, and try to choke these passes down. Like the next slide he was just showing is, you can see that's Wine Island. I mean, you can see what's left of it. It's not very much.
Now let's go to 2019. There you go. That's what's left.
15. Yeah, that's 15. And then you can see in 19 what's left of it, but it's still shallow there. So we're gonna take it from there, and we're actually under engineering with that, and we're gonna look at rebuilding that along with a lot of other projects.
Let's show 2022, Jay, just to show the people. Keep going back one.
They got 22.
Go back to 2000. Look at 22. Almost can't see it at all.
Right. Then 23, probably that could have been the satellite in low tide or something. As you can see, we have to move on these islands, not only here but other parishes too.
But this is proof the footprint's still there.
The footprint's still there, and we have to. I mean, you have no choice but to build it back. I think this should have been done, and you can't look at the past, but we need to go to the future. There's 2024, as you can see, and that's one that's where we're looking hard at to get it kicked off. And then if you look at the next one, East Timberley Island. Now, East Timberley Island is in Lafourche Parish, but it's right at the border of Terrebonne. That island is important to us. It's in Lafourche, and that's it. Now, you see that platform in the back, Morton? To the south, that island used to be to the north of that. What happened is you had all them hurricanes, those two hurricanes and 3 storms in 20. You had Barry in 19, then Ida, and then moved that island behind it.
So the islands are shifting.
Well, they're shifting because of the hurricane.
Yeah, okay.
Now, some say they migrate north, but this migrated like in 5-6 years. So that's not migration. That's good old-fashioned Mother Nature.
Yeah, no doubt.
And then if you see East Timberley Island, that's 2018. You can see they had a little bit more island there. That's 2019, started eroding, even worse. Now, when I left CPRA, they were engineering this island, and they just stopped, and they shelved it, which I believe was a big mistake. And
Yeah, look at 21.
So yeah, that's 21. That's East. This is in Lafourche, but this is as much Terrebonne as it is anything.
And in 23.
And then 23. This is after the island was moved behind the platform.
Right.
And of course, that's one of our tasks that we're looking at, and let's go ahead and move forward on. And
Well, let's hold on. We'll talk about Timberlake. What we'll do, take a short break, come back. We're with the CPRA chair, Mr. Gordon Dove. Don't go away. Today's social media segment is brought to you by South Louisiana Bank. It's better when we bank together. Waits and Downer, attorneys at law. Terrebonne Ford, built Ford tough. All right, we are back. Martin Foss here with the CPRA chair. I've had to learn so many titles for this guy. It's unbelievable. He was representative, then he's parish president, now he's the chair, and it's a statewide chair. He's on the cabinet of the governor, so the governor's tasked him, and rightly so. No one else, I can't compare anyone else. There's only a handful of people that could really know the area like Gordy Duff. So finishing these projects on our last segment, I know y'all working hard, and some other things that have come, and I just maybe fill in the blanks here.
Yeah, Bart, and like I said earlier, we're looking at Chandelier Islands and Breton Islands, and another thing we're looking at doing with the Chandelier Islands, also Barataria and Terrebonne is putting land bridges in all these areas, and in Terrebonne Bay and Barataria and Breton, because we have to reestablish the North Banks. Now, believe it or not, those were in there 10 years ago when I was in there, and for some reason, new administrations come along and take them off, and so we're going to put them back, and
What you got,
a lot of concentration on the entire golf
You
course.
got about a $2 billion budget, CPRA?
1.7 billion.
Pretty close.
Pretty close, yeah.
Okay, all right.
And so the next slide is Timberley Island, and there, I'm showing you the ones in Terrebonne because we're doing we're looking at Marsh Island over in Iberia, so we got a lot of other islands we're looking at, but this is Timberley Island, which is 2019, and you can see in 22 you can see where we had pumped that sand. We had pumped some sand on there trying to help repair the island. And then in 2017 we did Whiskey Island, robust island, beautiful job, $118 million. I tried to put rocks back then as the parish president and was unsuccessful. That's, some people like rocks, some don't. I believe in them. Everyone believes in them. The segmented breakwater rocks work. And then look at Raccoon Island in Whiskey Island in 2019. Look how much sand is lost. Remember,
Well, y'all put the rocks real early on. You could tell by the air they work.
well, I'm going to show you on Raccoon Island where we put them.
Raccoon Island.
Yeah, so Whiskey never had them. But so
Right.
you could see Whiskey 2019 and look at 23. You could see how it started taking a beating. Now, this is what we presented back when I was parish president. The next slide was the rocks. Now, that was never installed, though we're going back to that to get them installed. And the segmented breakwater rocks would have retained that island from losing as much, you see. But we still have the plans for that, and we're going to move forward on it. At least that is the plan.
Just as soon use them, you got them already.
Well, we got the plans. Yeah, we just got to refresh them, and then the final slide is Raccoon Island, which was done in 1999, and you can see the reason I showed you this 20 slide is it was doing fine, and then Barry came along in 19, and then remember in 20 we had all them storms and hurricanes. You could see how it ate away some of the island.
Right.
Then you look at 22, and it shows where the island started rebuilding itself. What a good example. I mean, you could see.
Yeah.
Remember, we didn't go out there and pump sand. It just started rebuilding itself, and I really have another slide that's not on here, but in 2023, it really shows. Oh, no, there it is. It is on there. It's not on my copy.
Okay.
But look, that's 2023. Look at it. Okay, and that took a beating for the years before that, and it replenished itself. So that is the model. That in Grand Isle, the two models, Grand Isle and Jefferson Parish, that rocks work, and some some NGO, one NGO has put a resolution about its should be used as a standard tool for Louisiana. Some people are coming around.
Yeah, I think so. And I remember, I mean, so many people have brought up, you have been screaming rocks as long as I've known you. Matter of fact, the president came down and nicknamed you Rocky because of your rock.
I said it so many times, but you know, Martin, and then when we put it together, and Tony Alford is he's chairman of the advisory committee, so he has a direct ear, with the governor. He's of the advisory committee. Plus, we both sit on the board.
So the governor's getting
and I'm chairman.
Yeah.
So we've got a lot of tailbone representation. And then, we went ahead and interviewed and we recommended to the governor a guy named Glenn Leday. He's from Thibodeau. And this guy has a master's degree in coastal engineering and an engineering degree in civil engineering. The executive directors in the past, nobody was ever an engineer. And I thought you should be an engineer. Not that the ones in the past that do a good job. I'm not saying that, but I like an engineer in that position, and we have a good one. And he's really, really moving this thing forward, working with us and the board. And so we've got a lot of things going on that's really coming together.
All right, what we're going to do, of course, the show's over, but the chairman has promised us that he is going to come on repeatedly as they introduce news, and he may bring the governor one day and we'll get some updates. But this is a very robust project for the state of Louisiana, and they're moving forward with it. And we appreciate him joining us today and giving us an update. And we appreciate you joining us and listening to the update. And we'll see you on the next program.
Today's social media segment is brought to you by Terrebonne General Health System. Your health is our legacy. Rouse's, you're either local or you're not. Buick, the craft of modern luxury. St. Martin and Bourke, know your rights.